Welcome to the bar. Welcome to another Saturday night, Sunday morning, number 8. So what do we got? We got Monopoly. This is the 85th anniversary. Actually, it's February. February 2020 is 85 years after the original game came out. But there's another reason I put it out. I have some good news. I found $20. I found it on the street. This is the third time in my life I ever found a $20 bill. Can I tell you that? When you find a $20 bill, you know something good's going to happen. So I found a 20. When did I find the first 20? In college. Then I found the next 20 on the street in the ghetto. Who would be dumb enough to do that, right? And then this 20 in front of my library. And I had a hard time at the library dealing with some stupid old man. I'll tell you about the stupid old man someday, but not today. I don't want to really tell too much. I don't say where I work, and I don't tell you who I really am, so I think we're all good. Anyway, so let's get to this. Somebody had a complaint to parallel mine. My family visit went adequate. I didn't like it. I didn't hate it. It was awkward. I still have my plans to go. And also, too, you should know, I also have my passport. So if I want to leave the country, I can do that. My passport's good until, 3 years from now. Or actually 4 years. So until 2024, I could go to Europe or Japan or wherever the fuck I want, because it's my right to do so. Anyway, so the bar, we're here. Let's talk about not dealing with family. Now, I was pissed off as a motherfucker last week, and I still hold to my value. I don't regret anything I've said. I knew that my video was going to catch on a little bit faster than others, since when people see my face and they see me pissed off, that just, ups the views, doesn't it? And the likes. Because, when you see somebody pissed off at video games or pissed off on politics, that's when everybody tunes in, because they just like to see that stuff. But this is not me playing it up. This is me pissed off. Part of it's drama. Part of it is for the YouTubers. But I really was upset last week. And, since I have no friends, I have to say something. So no, I was not happy that my family came over Monday morning, Monday afternoon. And it was like taking a shit and being unable to leave the toilet. It was like dealing with the stupid old man today. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great, and I'd rather not deal with it. The moral of that lesson was there are just some people who will never learn. They have a learning disability. They're slow. They can't form words. They don't get things, and they just don't learn from their mistakes. So that's how it is. It's going to always be this way, I think, till the end of time. But Monopoly. So Monopoly represents being able to buy your own property and buying houses and stuff. But it's also about where you live and where you go. Now, this person who commented on my put in the YouTube comments said, "I hate my family too. Family's the worst." Now, let's think about that. I don't think that rule applies to everyone. There are some good families. There must be good families. But just because there are good families, as most of us in the group here, if we are a group of lonely people, which is sort of an oxymoron, wouldn't it not be? That just because you can have a good family here and there, whether it's by religion or it's by good fortune or good values or good money, doesn't mean that that's everyone. And I think people are so lazy. There was this cute girl who had big ears, this cute ears on her, and she works at Carl's Jr. She is like pregnant. She is 7 to 8 months pregnant. Are you fucking kidding? This is another one. And she's a manager at Carl's Jr. She's going to still be working at Carl's Jr. Unless, of course, she gets wise and goes to Everest College or Bryman College, and she gets a degree in nursing to kind of say, well, I don't want to do this. I'm better than this. Like, you're just like every single mother who fucked up, and now she's got to set a better example, which is not a terrible thing, but you didn't need to. See, this is the thing. for any women who are watching, this is when you are in the ghetto, okay, and you're gonna spread your thighs for a guy with a cock, maybe the size of his hand, and he's also in the ghetto, and he tells you he's gonna get this big job and he's gonna make six figures. IUDs, pills, rubbers, I don't care what you do. I don't care if you stick a whole glove in your vagina. Do not get pregnant with some dumbass from the ghetto. Unless he's Johnny Depp, and you know he's Johnny Depp. Because Johnny Depp's got his own problems with women, especially abusers, doesn't he? And, unless it's somebody who's got the fucking money, unless his last name is Esquire, and you know it's Esquire or Doctor, don't spread your legs unprotected for some shithead in the ghetto. Because guess fucking what? You're not going to get anything. You're going to get a deadbeat dad who's going to barely make ends meet. You're going to be working at Carl's Jr. or McDonald's for the rest of your miserable life. Gotta be loving it. Remember that one? Remember that post I told you about? And you're not going to get anywhere. And so going back to families, it's families like this that this YouTube commenter, I felt that maybe that's the type of family he came from, and a family like mine, okay? I feel like if he didn't come from a family like mine where there was hate and bigotry and siblings turning against each other because mom and dad's an abuser and mom is complicit and bitchy and yelly and perfectionist. If those things aren't happening, if you don't have the wicked stepsisters picking on the little kid brother because he's the last child, then you may be coming from a family who's just stupid and poor. So let's say you come from either one. So you want to move out, and you want to move out to a better place. So what do? You've got hotels, you got houses, you can move near a nuclear power plant, you can move near the city, all these different places, all these, walks of life. And it's all for you to choose. And what else can you do? Because, the sky's the limit, wherever city, whether it's a capital or a city or a town, if you're a little kid, your mom can help you out. But Monopoly, I guess, it's about traveling to different places and finding yourself in those places, and really just discovering what life is really all about for someone who's not trying to hang on to their parents. I still meant what I said about leaving to go to my destination, and my destination is somewhere. Either it's in the United States. I think I said before I would do it in the States, but that's a cheaper alternative because you would have to find a country where they won't deport you easily. I would go to Australia, but it's not a great idea right now. So Monopoly to me represents, finding ways away from home. When you can buy your own house, you can live in your own house, you can build your own house. In this game, there's industries, so maybe you can live in a building. Or living in a skyscraper on a floor. It's really like I said, it's just finding your world away from what your parents have taught you. Your parents' logic, your parents' bullshit. Life, the laws of physics do not work unless your parents say exactly how it works. The sky doesn't rain unless they tell it does rain. The sun doesn't come up unless they allow it to do so. That's sort of a God looking down on people on Mount Olympus sort of attitude. And you don't have time for that. I'm assuming you're an adult. If you're a child, then, you gotta put up with this. You gotta eat shit for about a couple of more years and then you're 18. But if you're 18 and over, you can actually just fuck off. But you gotta have a plan. Now, Monopoly, taking a tissue break here. Monopoly is not just about getting away from home, but where are you running to? And that's the other issue. So you're running away from home legally and hopefully organized by packing your stuff and finding an apartment, finding a house, because you need to get away from these people who have put a hold on you. They have put a mental hold, a spiritual hold. They tell you that you're no good, or you're never going to be anything. Why can't you do an office job? Go back to Tom Leykis. Your family and friends hold you back. Now, Tom Leykis, I don't listen to Tom Leykis anymore because of his hypocritical Democratic points of view that conflict along with Hillary Clinton and Gloria Allred when he has, and and Coulter when he has like smashed them in the past and made fun of them, and now he's backpedaled. He even defended what's her face, the woman that was accusing Brett. Was that his name? Brett, the Supreme Court justice that was like of rape, and he didn't do anything. So I forgot the guy. Most people now have forgotten now because it's past. But that woman with the big glasses who was like pointing fingers at Brett for gang rape, and it was like that was bullshit. And Tom Leykis defended. So because of all the Democratic nonsense, I don't listen to Tom Leykis. But when Tom Leykis did talk about family and friends, I give him that much. I mean, he's funny when he makes fun of religious people, but more importantly, when he makes fun of people who are trying to get married too quickly and people who are just not fulfilling their dreams. You got girlfriends who are dream killers. You got families who are dream killers. And you might have even best friends who might be dream killers, though that's a little slightly hypothetical because I think some of us like to choose our best friends very carefully with caution. But I mean, like I said, that can happen if something happens to you in your life, you come to an epiphany and you realize where I need to go and what I need to do. So what we need to understand is, where do we run to? Now let's take this shogi board. This is Japanese chess. Anybody ever played Japanese chess? This is much better than regular chess, I promise you. So let's say that this is the place you move to, okay? Now, you figure by moving away from your family, you have done the right thing. And I think 90% of us would agree so. But let's say the 10% say, but what about responsibility for where you go? What about focusing on where you run to, not where you run from? That's very true. Where are you running to, son? Where are you going to run to? So let's say this is an area that you know shit about, okay? You didn't go do the research. You didn't do your homework. You just want to get out of it, right? So here are the people. Now, these are of course, different pieces in shogi. I do think this is the knight in shogi, okay? So you got the knight, you got the pawns. What else? Let's take a couple more pieces out. This is the gold general. He is next to the king. This is a silver general. I can tell by the characters. It's hard to understand and read Mandarin or kanji in this case. Here is a rook. Now, all these pieces, right? Where's the king? Let me see if I can find the king. Here's the king, right? All these pieces in shogi, they go on the board, right? Now, they're all similar, right? They're pretty much like the same things you see in here. All the same. And here is you, okay? You're a Zelda person, okay? You are the Zelda person. And you're looking around side to side, kind of like, how would I do this? Like this, side of your eye, side of your eye, side of your eye. You're kind of looking around to see if this is a safe place to be in. Can you see, I mean, I created a Link game where you can be on a board, but let's just say, does Link belong on this shogi board? Do you belong here? Is this your place to be? Is this where Link really belongs? And so we think of chess, we think of checkers, we think of Japanese chess. So in this case, the board could represent East LA with Mexicans, Monterey Park with Chinese, South Los Angeles with the Black African American community. Let me think. Gardena with Japanese community. I think I see some Indians living in the city of Downey, some Indian communities. Armenian communities, Armenians in Hollywood, Armenians in Montebello, Montebello as we call it. So there's different communities. Some are rich communities, some are poor. Boyle Heights is the worst, I think. Compton's probably the worst. It's a mix of blacks and Mexicans. Beverly Hills, white, rich. Pasadena, old, white, rich. There's different communities in Southern California. When you go to other states, there's white farms. You know, white people can do road trips because most of them live in all the other states. It's hard to look, as Mexicans, it's hard for us to look for our own people unless we were born in colorblind communities. If you're a Mexican living in East LA or Maywood or Linwood or Boyle Heights, you're fucked. You don't think about road trips unless you just moved away from home. So fitting in is the key. I don't fit in with my community. I don't fit in with the people around me. And I don't think I ever will. I don't think it gets to that point where I'm just fed up and I don't really want to deal with, the drug addict, the guy who wants a lighter for his cigarette, person scratching his lottery ticket, people stealing shopping carts, people on their bullhorn talking about Jesus, Jesus Cristo, sí, sí, para Dios, para salvation, like talking on the bullhorn and stuff. It's ridiculous. There's all kinds of stupid people, thugs, people on parole, people on probation, people talking to their parole officer, people on people paying child support, spouse support, barefoot pregnant, pregnant working at Carl's Jr., all this shit. God, fuck me, man. And while you may say it's easy, let me tell you how hard it was. Now, I'm coming upon the 10th anniversary of being away from my family. I had shitty neighbors. These kids that I had neighbors, they would throw the ball into my yard and climb over my fence to get the ball. It's like they wanted to like infiltrate my house. Are you fucking kidding? Now these kids are in their 20s. But 10 years ago, they were little kids, sweet little kids, quote unquote, even though they were not sweet little kids. These kids would stay up to midnight to play ball out in the street. Are you fucking kidding? I had to deal with neighbors who threw shopping carts on my grass in front of my house. They would toss shoes in the trees. They would destroy their textbooks and books for school to get a shoe out of a tree or a ball. No, a ball. It was a ball, and then their shoe ended up in the tree. These kids were of low intelligence. They would dent cars and set off car alarms. They would play kind of fuck you soccer where they would use my fence and their fence as goalposts. It's like, what kind of idiot kids are these? These are the kind of kids who would skip school and get caught by the cops, They're just horrible. And they would just mistreat me. And every time I complained, the old lady would say, shut up, shut up, shut up. I just wanted to kill. I wanted to murder those people so badly. Some people are just good for soap bars. You know what I mean? You just turn them into soap bars and you send them to Al Qaeda and ISIS and see what happens. Because some people on this earth, why are they here? Why are they here except to be put on this earth to make other people miserable? They don't produce anything. They don't help society. They just help themselves. Good for nothing people. That's honestly how I feel. So to you, the YouTube commenter, I beg of you to really, really think about where you're running to and not just where you're running from. Because if you fuck up and if you run to the wrong place, you're going to end up going back home. That's what's going to happen to your dumbass. So pay attention to where you're going to and not just where you're running from. This is key. If you figure this out, I promise you, you will not be sorry. Have a plan. Get to know the neighborhoods all over the area you're in. It's hard. And you will have to deal with your family a little bit longer. But it's better to not be impulsive and to have a plan ready so that you're not immediately coming back home in a week. And our last call will be talking about video games, when life is like a video game. I was watching a lot of Don Quixote, listening to plays, the original novel, some of the old movies. Don Quixote of La de la Mancha, it was like a person who was delusional. The fictional character thought he could go back to being this great knight and live a life of greatness. The author himself, whose bones were missing for a while, and then they found him like 5 years ago, and put his body finally to rest. He had an unremarkable life. He was not a great soldier. He was not a great businessman. He didn't have a great life before he wrote Don Quixote. And after he wrote it, People loved his stuff, and they wrote plays, and they wrote musicals, operas throughout the centuries. The people made books. Um, the female Quixote, I think, was the first time you had a female character with the moniker like Supergirl, Superman, Batgirl, Batman kind of thing, way long before that existed. But he was someone who wanted to act out fantasies and scare the living shit out of people, where he would see one thing as another thing. Now, what does that sound like? These days, it sounds like a video game. When I think of the Truman Show, could this happen in real life? I could see some spoiled mumble rappers having a city or a town for themselves, except they know it's fake and they want everybody to cater to them. But in this case, they always win. They never lose. There's no challenge. There's no randomness in life. So it can be like this is the ultimate video game where everybody's catering to you. There are rules to get to a good point, but of course you're going to get the prizes because everybody's catering to you. So in this way, it's like the Truman Show is like the easy example of the easiest video game ever, but it was a cruel joke on someone who thought everything was real, but it wasn't. Groundhog Day, simple example of repeating the same mistakes over and over and trying to figure out how to solve the problem of what to do and how to approach the next problem here and there. Then you come to like Zelda, which is Groundhog Day, but it's an actual video game in which you're trying to save the town from being overrun by a giant moon hitting it. What can you do? How do you stop the apocalypse? What is there to do? So that's another issue. The other one, of course, I think of Toad's Treasure Trackers, which is a puzzle. Life is like a puzzle. You're always trying to solve it again and again. But I think, as some people would point out, and here's Dragon Quest. This is what I'm playing now, which I enjoy. There's, I think, a Don Quixote type character. Don't think you can see him proper, but he's in the bottom right here. And there's all kinds of weird characters. You can see him here. There's the boy who cried wolf, but his name is Ruff. It's based on old folklore, Aesop's fables, stuff like that. And yes, I do know a lot of things. I used to watch 70s reruns on TV. There was one called Angie. You can look that up. Just look up the theme music. Don't look up the show. It's kind of boring. It's like any other sitcom. But I remember 70s sitcoms. Anyway, so video games, as one person pointed out, it acts out our fantasies. But more importantly, it's like a bunch of actors who are working together to make sure that you are somehow able to win through a series of fortunate events, and sometimes unfortunate. But everything is sort of, quote unquote, planned for you to get your goals. Because in real life, it's hard for us to get jobs. It's hard for us to get the girlfriends. It's hard for us to get noticed in groups. It's hard for us to be liked by many people and accepted and in demand. And we're always we're not going to be celebrities. I don't think any one of us here are, but we're way at the other end of the spectrum where we're just like mistreated. And so video games sort of gives us the illusion, whether it's in a movie like Truman Show or Groundhog Day, or reality shows like the Amazing Race or Hell's Kitchen, where there is a way to win. There's a set number of things, but it's like you're being a chef in real life, but you're not really a chef working your way up. This is all a game show. It's all a reality show, and you're part of this sort of joke. And either you make the joke work for you and you win the prize, or you are the butt of the joke and you get excommunicated or voted off the island. So for me, video games are an escape, but it's hard. It's sort of, this is the thing. If I ever go, when and if I do go homeless, I never want to be a drunk. I never want to smoke or do narcotics. But video games are sort of my only drug to having, the things I want, having the things I like to have, having my cake and eating it too. So this is all that really makes me happy at this point, is having these games and being able to play them. And really, that's my drug. That really is not a narcotic thing. But again, what's better than a video game right now? Right now, I don't know where my life is going, but if it's not going anywhere near the logic of a video game, I feel like it's not worth a damn. Thank you for watching, and the bar is now closed.